Welcome everyone, this is Virgin's channel. Now we are back to our new episodes of 2 Semi-Ranking Champions and Comparison, featured by Wild Rift, League of Legends versus the Mobile Legends Bang Rank. But before that, please like and subscribe to my channel and don't forget to click the bell icon so you will be notified to our new next episode video. Let's do this!
Victor is a mage, but the style of mage is up to the player. Whether choosing a mid-ranged tanky mage, a bursty damage dealer, or a longer-ranged supporter, Victor has a variety of tools to dismantle the competition. Victor's passive is Evolving Technology. Victor starts the game with a Hex Core in his inventory. This Hex Core can be upgraded within the in-game shop into one of 3 upgrades, corresponding to his 3 basic abilities. Each upgrade grants different stats, and benefits its eponymous ability in some way. We'll go over these upgrades shortly. Power Transfer damages a single target enemy and returns a portion of that damage as a temporary shield to Victor. If Victor upgrades to Augment Power, then Power Transfer also gives Victor a movement speed buff whenever he uses it. As his most consistent damage tool, I max Power Transfer right away. Gravity Field creates an area on the ground that slows all enemies inside it. Enemies who stand inside the field for too long are also stunned. If Victor upgrades to Augment Gravity, then Gravity Field's cast range is increased. As his main utility spell, I grab 1 point early. Death Ray allows you to choose a start point and a trajectory, damaging all enemies along the path. If Victor upgrades to Augment Death, then Death Ray will deal bonus damage over time to every target it hits. As an area of effect spell, it's more useful mid-game than early game, so I max it by level 13. Chaos Storm damages and briefly silences all enemies in an area, also leaving behind a storm for a few seconds that continuously damages every enemy around it. You can command the Chaos Storm to move to your cursor by reactivating the ability. As an ultimate, I rank it at level 6. By ranking Power Transfer early, you can easily trade blows with enemy champions and come out ahead. Here I make it a point to walk over to Morgana and tag her with Power Transfer. I make the effort to stick around for a few attacks as my shield blocks most of her counterattack. Make sure to keep Gravity Field available for jungle ganks. As Shyvana comes to gank me, I aim it such that I'm on one edge of it, Shyvana's on the other, and I walk through the entire diameter of the field. This means that if she chases me, I'm sure to get away, as she'll get stunned. Unfortunately, through a combination of her exhaust and Morgana's flash, I'm forced to dodge Morgana's Dark Binding with a flash of my own. Victor's full damage combo is extremely potent. I notice Shyvana trying to dive me, so I hit Power Transfer, lead her away from the turret, and keep running until the spell comes back from cooldown. Immediately after, I lay down everything. Gravity Field keeps her in range of Chaos Storm, as Death Ray and Power Transfer also deal significant damage. Thanks to Morgana's Black Shield, she just barely survives the encounter, but Rammus rolls in for the kill immediately after. Gravity Field is a great way to set up a fight. As Nunu and Shyvana come down, I drop it to separate the two of them. Nunu can't retreat, and Shyvana can't come in. They both try anyway and get caught in its stun, so Rammus comes in to pick up on Nunu. We burst him down and continue to push onto our enemies. Because they're missing key members, I can play extremely aggressively, forcing Swain out with Power Transfer and Death Ray, while cutting off Shyvana's retreat with Gravity Field. As the fight winds down, I'm able to find Swain with a flash into Power Transfer. Thanks to Augment Power, the movement haste plus shield allow me to escape Ashe as my team backs me up. Gravity Field works phenomenally well when combined with the teammate's crowd control. As Lux and I happen to catch Yorick on the quarry, I hit Gravity Field right as she tags Light Binding. As a result, he's locked up under our entire damage output, falling before even making it more than a quarter of the screen. As Death Ray doesn't interrupt your movement, and Chaos Storm deals continual damage, this allows you freedom to chase down opponents. I open up on Ahri with Power Transfer and Death Ray, but as she runs away, I tag her with the tip of Chaos Storm and set it to follow Galio. Even though I'm no longer in range of any of my other abilities, we pick up the kills easily. This same combination works exceptionally on offense as well. As Rumble and I push on the Boneyard, we lay our Gravity Field with the Equalizer. Twisted Fate gets completely caught and falls before being able to deal any damage. Tristana pushes back onto Rumble, but I'm able to take her out when my minions neutralize the point. As one final note, casting Death Ray at the edge of its range and aiming it outward lets you outpoke almost anyone. As Tristana attempts to defend the drill, a quick cast of Death Ray hits her for about 500 damage without any fear of counterattack. For runes, I take Magic Penetration Marks, Ability Power per level Seals, Ability Power per level Glyphs, and Flat Ability Power Quintessences. This setup is aimed at giving me significant damage with my abilities. If you're going to build for a tanky power transfer build, consider Armor Seals and Magic Resist Glyphs instead. My masteries are 2109, focusing on increasing my ability power, magic penetration, mana regeneration, and neutral buff duration. Like with the runes, this build is aimed at granting me significantly increased damage. However, for a tanky build, consider 10-11-9, foregoing some ability power for bonus armor, magic resist, and health. In Classic, I open with a Sapphire Crystal and 2 health potions. I rush for Catalyst the Protector and Boots of Speed, upgrading to Rod of Ages soon after. After Rod of Ages, I complete Sorcerer's Shoes. The choice augment is up to you, though I build power in this spotlight. There are a number of strong items to consider regardless of your build, including Rylai's Crystal Scepter, Rabadon's Death Cap, Will of the Ancients, and Void Staff. In Dominion, your build may end similarly but start differently. I open with Prospector's Ring, Boots of Speed, and 2 health potions. Rushing Sorcerer's Shoes, Rylai's Crystal Scepter, and Augment Power lets you run around in fights and use a significant movement speed advantage to win them. Again, consider heavy-hitting ability power items like Rabadon's Death Cap, Will of the Ancients, and Void Staff.
If you don't know, it's a basic blast that he sends out, and then a shield is applied to Victor, and then his next auto attack is going to get a bit of bonus magic damage. So, how you want to look to utilize to take very quick trades in your windows of power when it's up, and utilize, if you have the augment with it, utilize the movement speed and the increased shield power. So, with Victor being a ability-based champion, you want to take extremely quick trades like this, where you have both of your abilities up, you walk up, making sure that you are taking full advantage of when you are getting in those trades. You are going to have your shield from it, and taking this really quick trade is going to give you a very easy access to a bit of a lead in the lane, and giving you a bit of priority in the lane where you're able to just clear out waves, and people are very rarely going to want to look to trade into you if you are consistently able to take these quick trades with your shield up and with your both your answer any kind of damage. And when you're looking to take these really basic trades, if they're looking to return, you can start moving away and throwing your E in the path that they want to walk down, so they either have to get punished by both parts of the E if you have your augment up, or they have to move out of the way and not take a direct line at you. So you want to prevent people from walking straight at you with your abilities down, and you can do that by just setting a straight line that they might take at you. And that will wrap up tip number 1 for Victor. Alright, and getting into tip number 2, I want to talk a little bit about utilize people's play patterns against them. So when you are laning, and say you're in the mid lane and you are playing against a champion like LeBlanc or like Zed or like Talon or Fizz that are constantly moving forward and looking to trade with you, how you want to look to utilize is staggering it towards where you think their movement is going to be. So putting it a little bit in front of them so they have to walk across the maximum amount of length of be extremely effective. Say you're playing against something like a Ziggs or a Vel'Koz, it might be a little bit more of a passive laner. Staggering it a little bit behind them is going to be a better way to situate it. So make sure that you are reading the enemy's play patterns and looking to maximize the amount of time the enemy is going to spend in the gravity field. This can also be utilized, the same exact strategy, in team fights. If you're maybe against a team with a Leona or a Malphite and a Kha'Zix, just a bunch of really just people that are looking to jump in and dive on you, you can look to be in the back line and look to utilize it, just staggering it in front of the enemies, and they're going to have to walk through it as much of the gravity field as possible. Second, if they are a little bit more passive, if you're maybe snowballing and doing very well, they are going to be, in general, they're going to be running away from you quite a bit. So you want to look to stagger it behind them and cut off some of their escape routes when you are using your W. And that will wrap up this tip for Victor. Alright, getting into tip number 3, I want to give you guys a couple of things you can look to utilize when you are. A lot of people really get caught off guard by the hitbox that is displayed on your cursor, and then this ray is going to show up, and that is how it's going to be displayed. As you can see here, it is quite a fat hitbox, but it is a very skinny line, and people think they are going to be safe if they are just outside of the line, which is really not true. As you can see right here, the line is very far away from the enemy, but he is still being hit by it. So this is going to be a great way where you're going to be able to hit people with the second part of this by putting it in the right situation. So the second thing I wanted to cover with Victor and his E, outside of just getting really used to understanding the skill shot, is very similar to the Rumble Ultimate and how to use it, but just getting a good understanding of where you can be throwing is going to be rather crucial for Victor, as it is a rather unique skill shot. But one thing I really want to talk about is making sure that you utilize your allies CC and stuns and slows and roots to really get both parts of the E and get a lot of damage off. Now, if you didn't know, the first part of your base damage, so it's going to be doing a little bit more damage in the early game, but the second part of your E is going to have a higher AP ratio, so it's going to be doing a little bit more in situations where you have a crap ton of AP. So you want to make sure that you're going to be hitting with both, because they're both around the same damage and doing a large amount of damage, pretty much the same as the first tick of. So making sure that you are working off first your gravity field, slowing them down, and then hitting waiting for one of your allies to really make sure that you are going to land your full combo if they are looking to set up a engagement when you are using Victor. And that will wrap up this tip for him.